Hey there, everyone, and welcome to Life Coach University and 2023 Let's Coach. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. My name is Chris Wells. I'm a life transformation coach. I teach the I am process. That's intentions, awareness, and mechanics. This is a coaching session, so please feel free to raise your hand by clicking on the raise hand app. I'll unmute you. We can have a coaching session live, or if you would rather, then you can type your questions by clicking on the Q&A button and typing your questions in there, and then I'll respond to those verbally. Otherwise, I'll be talking about what I intended to talk about, but please feel free to interrupt. Again, this is a coaching session, so the more you interact, the more you get out of this. All right, so we've been talking about the I am structure. We've talked about intentions, and we've talked about awareness, and we've even talked about accountability, that second A that I threw in there. And now we're going to dive into the mechanics of how do you actually live this in your daily life? How do you practice your intention, like living intentionally, and practice your awareness, right? And that's through the mechanics of it. And I'm going to dive into a major component of this today, and that is self-care, right? We have to take care of ourselves to protect our energy, right? We want to protect our own health. So that's our mental, our physical, our emotional, our spiritual, all in the name of really freeing us up to even think about anything else, right? Because if we're in poor health, that's really all that matters. That's our biggest concern. Then that's our primary focus, is getting back into health, right? It's really difficult to care about much else. It's one of our basic needs as a human being, is to be healthy, right? So self-care is super important. Our personal health is super important. Our personal energy, our physical energy, our mental, our spiritual, we have to take care of our energy. It's our energy that gets us through, that helps us live intentionally, that helps us put in that extra effort that's required to start changing our habits and to live the way that we actually want to live, to envision and then have the courage and the right attitude to actually start living our dream life, to dream it and then to put it into practice, right? So I'm going to talk today about self-care. Again, feel free to interrupt at any point with questions. Raise your hand, type those questions in, because again, this is coaching. This is for you. Otherwise, I'm just lecturing, right? And which is fine. I love doing it. I love teaching. But I want you to get the most out of this that you possibly can. So remember, please raise your hand and or drop your questions in the Q&A. And it could be about any topic. It doesn't have to be related to what I'm talking about either. All right. So there are some fundamental components of self-care, and I'm going to dive into those here today. So I'm not going to go super deep into any one. I'll talk more in depth on some of these topics in a future session. But today I just want to do a high level, my thoughts on what self-care is. And there's quite a bit to it, but we could keep it simple also. And I definitely subscribe to the keep it simple philosophy in life. I think simplicity is very powerful. All right. So, one of the components is to sleep well, right? And some of these are very basic. You probably already know it, but the biggest thing is, are you doing it? Do you have a good sleep pattern, a good sleep routine? Are you sleeping well, right? Are you going to bed and waking up fairly consistently at the same time every day, every morning, every night, right? That matters, right? if we're not getting enough sleep, it's really difficult to have good energy. It's difficult to make good decisions for ourselves. So it's going to be hard to be disciplined and do all the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves, right? We're just going to feel pretty lousy. Our energy is going to be low. Our mood's going to be pretty sour, right? It is going to be difficult to maintain healthy relationships. It's going to be difficult to work out and to even make good decisions around what we're eating, because a lot of times when we're tired, we want some comfort food or something, right? So we'll maybe overeat to try to overcompensate for our lack of energy. So getting good sleep, and I'm not going to tell you the number of hours you need to sleep every night. I think you probably already know what a good number is for you. And so now it's just a matter of doing it, right? All right, the next one is eat well. And again, I'm not going to tell you what that means for you specifically, right? But eat foods that give you good energy, without the crash, right? Like foods that actually help you feel better day in and day out, all right? Physically, cognitively, not necessarily emotionally, right? If we're eating emotionally, we're probably eating, heavy, carbs and things that help us feel better in the moment because we're not feeling great emotionally. So we try to compensate with the food, but that's not really helpful. So eat a diet that works well for you, for your energy. And so this you might not know as much. So it's important to start paying attention. Maybe keep a journal on this. Write down how you feel after you eat whatever it is you're eating, right? How you feel right after, how you feel a couple of hours after, how is what you're eating affecting your body fat composition, your weight, your energy for doing the things that you like to do for play or athletics, things like that, right? So be mindful of what you're putting in your body, and so that includes alcohol and other drugs, right? Like if you use alcohol and or other drugs, be incredibly mindful, right? It's probably not a good idea to consume alcohol, period. But if you do, are you doing it mindfully? Are you doing it reasonably and in moderation, right? Or is it something that you're overdoing for you? And again, I'm not going to tell you what the right amounts are. I'm not a doctor. I'm not you. I don't know, right? But you probably do know. And if you don't, then I highly recommend consulting with a doctor or a nutritionist, a health coach. So we have to, because what we put in our bodies really affects us physically, mentally, emotionally. And so, we want, again, this is about self-care. It's about protecting your health and your energy. And so if you're sleeping well and eating well, but, getting drunk every day, then, those things are probably countering each other. There's some conflict there, right? All right. The next thing is to work out. All right. So our bodies are made to move, right? And so if we're not getting regular exercise, and again, I'm not going to tell you how to work out, I'm not going to tell you what exercises to do. I think you need to do what works for you. If you're not sure, consult with a fitness coach, trainer, consult with your doctor if you're not sure what is healthy for you, given wherever you're at in your physical condition. But I would say start, if you're not working out and you want to get to a point where you're working out every day, doing certain things, I would say don't try to dive right into that. I learned something recently, and I think this is really true and helpful about starting new habits, and it's to start small and work your way up. Right? Don't don't try to do it all right now. It's going to be overwhelming. You're going to have a lot of inner resistance to that. You're going to probably not make it a habit. It's going to be too much, too quick. So if you want to work out 7 days a week for an hour each day, definitely start with less than that, right? Maybe make it 3 days per week and 15 minutes each day. You know, I'm just throwing these numbers out as an example. I'm not telling you what numbers, right? But start small, have a plan in place, and work your way up, right? Maybe you do that much lower level for a few weeks until you feel like, hey, I got this, and then add just a little bit over time. Because remember, this is a lifelong thing. You don't have to rush into it. But working out, moving your body, come up with some routine there. Make it a daily habit for you, or a weekly habit where you're getting out and moving your body, because our bodies are made to move. And if we are not exercising them, that definitely negatively impacts our physical health and our mental health. And so, you know, get outside and exercise whenever you can, because that, you know, the sunlight is good for you. Being out in nature is good for you. And if you can't, then work out at home. I do a lot of workouts at home. I've been getting out a lot more lately, mostly because the weather's been nicer. And it definitely has a positive impact on my mood and on my physical and mental energy. All right. So the next one is to meditate, right? Which is have periods where you're working on you're increasing your mental fitness, right? So I was just talking about working out your body for your physical fitness. Now, meditating is one amazing exercise that helps improve our mental fitness, right? Mental fitness. I love thinking of our mental wellness in terms of fitness, because for me, it's so easily relatable to physical fitness, right? And so if you think about it this way, if you want to be mentally fit, then you have to do similar things to being physically fit, right? You have to sleep well, you have to rest well, you have to eat well, you have to exercise. It's the same stuff. It's just that we could do different exercises for our mind. Even though physical exercise is also really good for our mental fitness, but meditation is one. Meditation, mindfulness, these are things that are so good for our mental fitness, right? And it's not enough to do it once or to know about it, just like with physical fitness, right? Even if you worked out, you know, every day for 6 months, right, you're going to get into really good shape. You're going to be physically fit, most likely in 6 months, right? But then if you stop doing it, you're going to atrophy. You're going to lose that fitness, that level that you achieved, right? And so it's the same thing with your mental fitness, right? It's not enough to know about meditation. It's not enough to do it once or for a short period of time and then stop and think, well, I'm all better now, because maybe because you started actually feeling better. But if you stop doing the work, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose that level of mental fitness. Just like if you stop doing the work, you're going to lose that level of physical fitness. So commit to this. If you want to be mentally fit, commit to a lifelong practice of exercise. Right? We can't avoid the work. This is something that I can't stress enough, because this is something that I think we all struggle with at times. Is we don't want to have to do the work, right? Because the work is painful, it's uncomfortable, it's a little bit scary and overwhelming at times, right? And so we avoid it, but then we wind up having to do the work anyway. Maybe it's different work, it's different pain, it's different discomfort, right? In the form of self-shame, of low energy and not being able to do the things that we want to do, and poor physical and mental health. We pay for that later, right? So which one do you want to experience? Which which discomfort, which pain, which difficulty, which challenge, right? Pick your problem. And so work is one of those unavoidable things in life. There's always work to be done on ourselves, on our relationships, on our finances, our careers. That's part of this human experience. So the more fully we embrace that and the quicker we embrace that, the happier we're going to be, the better off we're going to be in life. So make meditation, and I can't stress meditation enough. I'll probably do another. I've done a couple talks on this already. I even hosted a whole conference on meditation, but it's a powerful tool that we have available to us to help us improve our ability to focus. It helps us improve our relationships because it increases our ability to focus on other people and what they're saying, so we become better listeners. There's a whole bunch of physical health benefits, less stress, so it can lower your blood pressure. There's so many wonderful things that meditation can do for you physically, mentally, and in your relationships. It helps you to become more self-aware. Excuse me. So, to understand more of what's going on in your mind and in your body, because you're spending time not focused on the outside world, right? You could focus on you, right? It gives you time to do that. So it's a really good practice. All right. So next thing is to actually practice your intentions. So, if you set really good intentions for yourself, you're not going to automatically start living those, right? Like, so if it's, hey, I want to be more playful, I want to be more compassionate, I want to be more disciplined, whatever it is you came up with, whatever intentions you set for your life, I'm going to be wealthier, more productive at work, more more successful in this way or that way, right? Whatever it is, if you wrote these down, awesome. I highly recommend that you do. But if you just wrote them down and then you never revisit them, you don't read them, you don't memorize them, you don't repeat them to yourself, it's going to be easy to get away from those, to forget, and to not be working on living these intentions. Because again, it's not going to just happen overnight. You're not going to come up with your intentions and then just like magic, you're going to be living them, right? It takes practice, right? So affirmations is one way to do that, right? So these are the I am statements, like, I am joyful, I am loving, I am grateful, right? Oh, and gratitude, that's another really good one. I didn't have that written down for this, but practice gratitude, because this is a powerful practice like meditation. And you can incorporate this in with your meditation. You can incorporate your affirmations, gratitude practice, but it's really important to feel grateful for what we have, for what we've experienced in the past, for what we know is coming to us. Be grateful for the whole human experience, because it really is a wonderful blessing if you choose to see it that way. Then the next one is visualization, right? So practice actually visualizing the life that you want, whatever area of life, every area of life, whatever you want to visualize, but whatever you want to experience in life, it helps you to practice it in your mind, visualize it in your mind. What do you want that to look like, right? And then allow yourself to feel the positive emotions. What would it feel like for you to actually realize that, to experience that in your real life, that visualization? Allow yourself to feel that. That's going to really level up your energy and your desire, your motivation. You're going to be putting out this energy that's going to be picked up in the universe. It's going to be reflected back to you. You're going to do yourself a lot of good by allowing yourself to feel that energy, right? That emotion, and let it drive you, right? All right. Now, another one is to play, right? And in America, at least, and I know other countries, there's such a strong focus in the society on the importance of work, and work is important, but so is play. Right? We need that. We need that time away from work to be fully here in the moment and laughing and just enjoying ourselves. It's so restorative. It's so re-energizing, and it's just a lot of fun, right? Don't you want to have more fun? If you're not playing, you're selling yourself short. So plan this in, right? Don't play instead of work. Work and play, right? Like, and you can do this by scheduling it in, right? Whether you think you have the time or not. And I know most people think they don't, but you do. If you prioritize it, if you plan it, if you schedule it. So, whatever that is for you. I have so many different ways I like to play, and I'm fortunate to live at the beach where I can go out and play in the water, which I love surfing and bodyboarding and just playing in the waves in general. And then, I live near a bunch of parks and other things where I can go and play tennis, or I just started playing disc golf, which is a lot of fun, but play, right? It's not just play. Play helps us develop our bodies physically, and it helps us keep our minds sharp especially if we're learning new forms of play, right? This really helps with our mind, our mental fitness, as well as our physical fitness. And it just helps us to feel more relaxed, less stress. Play is really important for our self-care, right? And then so is being productive at work, right? If we are procrastinating, avoiding doing our work, that leads to more stress, more anxiety, more depression, which is just this, which leads to being even less productive, which is this vicious negative cycle, right? So we have to break that. Being productive, it actually helps us feel better. Now, it's easy to get addicted to this, right? Like, well, like I'm not going to feel good unless I'm productive, like super productive. And then it's like, oh, I'm never productive enough. And so you're just never feeling that good about how productive you were. So be careful with this one. But at the same time, don't put things off, right? Don't avoid, don't procrastinate, because that's just going to add to your stress. In the moment, it's like, okay, I don't have to deal with this right now, but you still you're going to have to deal with it. And so it's going to feel better to deal with it now, right? So, and plan it out again, like plan your day, plan your week, schedule it, have a checklist, whatever you need to do to fit in all the things, right? Because there are a lot of things to fit in. That's how life is. All right. So along the lines of play and sleeping well is rest. We need to rest well, right? So have some downtime where we're not doing anything. I mean, maybe watching TV, maybe reading a book, or whatever downtime is for you. Schedule that in. Don't overdo it, right? Because then you're going to feel bad about it. But if you plan it in and have intentional downtime, it's good for you. It's good for your recovery. Again, good for mental health, physical health. Another really important thing is to be mindful of your circle of influence, right? Who are you hanging out with, right? So this goes for family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, the people you're watching on the news, on TV, the shows you're watching, the movies you're watching, the social media that you're consuming. This has a major impact on our energy and on our health. So, choose to hang out with people, spend time with people, consume the content of people who lift you up, who give you positive energy, who help you feel better, who help you feel more at ease, not more stressed out, right? All right, and then along those same lines is having boundaries. So I'm definitely going to do a separate a separate session just on boundaries, because this is such an important one, and I think it's one that's widely misunderstood. Have boundaries, which, your boundaries are going to look different for different relationships that you have with different people. And remember that it's up to you to set boundaries. It's up to you to communicate those boundaries with other people, and it's up to you to honor your boundaries, right? So you have to set some kind of, there's something that happens, right? Like, so if somebody does something that is in violation of one of your boundaries, then what is it that you're going to do? And then you actually have to do it, right? And it's not a threat to other people. It's to protect yourself, right? But you have to honor your own boundaries, right? And don't expect other people to do it, right? But you can tell them, and you can ask them to, right? And hopefully they will, but they might not. And so what are you going to do then, right? What's the consequence? That's the word I was thinking of. You have to have consequences as part of this, but you have to stick to them. All right. So plan and schedule your time. I already said this, but without it, it's going to be really difficult to do all of these things. And you don't have to get super detailed with it. You don't have to overwhelm yourself with it, but it's really helpful to plan and schedule how you're spending your time. All right. And that takes discipline. And discipline is one of those things that I used to see as a bad word. Like, ooh, discipline, that's horrible. That just is so restrictive. But I have learned that it's the opposite. Having discipline is actually more freeing, because then I get to do the things I want to do, because I have the discipline to do the things I don't want to do, right? And so I'm not just spending time avoiding and procrastinating and wasting time playing on my phone or watching hours and hours of TV, right? Like, I watch TV, but it's fine when it's intentional, when it's like, okay, I'm going to watch an hour, right? Instead of 6 or whatever, right? So develop self-discipline. Have a strong why, right? This is part of setting your intentions. It's one of the questions you ask, like, what do I want? And then why do I want it? And use this for your daily decision-making, right? Because sometimes it's easy to put stuff off when you're not thinking about how important it is, when you're not thinking about that all important, powerful why, right? So remember your why and use it for your decision-making. Use it as a guide. The next thing is perspective. Start to work on developing a more positive perspective. Be more optimistic. Instead of seeing the problem in everything and seeing how you're a victim in everything and how nothing goes your way, look for the opportunity, look for the gift in everything. And I mean everything. And that alone will make a huge difference in your own well-being and your energy. And I'll definitely have a full session on perspective, because that's a major, major, major thing. Thought awareness, right? So start paying attention to your thoughts every day, throughout the day, when you have interactions with other people, when it comes to the work that you're avoiding, any area of life, anything at any point, all day. It's really important to monitor your thoughts and pay attention. Are your thoughts like self-deflating? Like, are you bringing your energy down with your thoughts, or are you lifting yourself up? Are you increasing your energy with your thoughts? And then finally, your self-talk, right? So it's not just what we're thinking, but what are we saying about ourselves and to ourselves? And that has a huge impact on how we feel as well, right? So that was a long list of things. I know that. So use that habit technique. Maybe, start with a few, but start adding more and more and more as you go. And if you plan and schedule, it makes it so much easier. All right. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you at the same time next week. Take care.